Good afternoon. This is Ron Brown. It's Friday, July 19th, 2024. There's about an hour and 15 minutes left in the market day, and I'm doing my weekly report. As I've said before, I like to do these on Friday while the market's open, just to show you the utility of the software, and also it frees me up on Saturdays and Sundays to do other things. So that's why I continue to do these on Friday afternoon. Now, always remember, the market is your teacher. This week I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to incorporate the ranking module, long and short term. This is the ranking module that's included in the HGSI software. As always, any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. You can try the software free for 30 days. Just go to highgrowthstock.com and you'll find a link. No credit card is required. Now, before I go too far, I want to quickly talk about this spread that I put on last Friday just as the market was closing. This is Friday right here. I said the stock ADI and analog devices had to get past resistance here. You can see if you look right here that at this point it was past resistance, and the trade was profitable. And then on Wednesday the techs really collapsed, and this stock collapsed with it. You can see the heavy volume right here. On Thursday it bounced, but it couldn't hold the high. So I went ahead and closed the trade because it had come back and reversed itself below that breakout point. I was ahead about, I don't know, $40 at this point, and the blue line represents the break even at expiration, but I was ahead at this point, and then it just reversed, and it turned negative. And with the semis and so on falling out of favor, I just decided to close it. I lost $13 plus commission on the trade. But until the tech wreck this week, it was looking like it was going to be a good trade for me. I had several other spreads on that were good trades, and they all ended up giving it back and fell victim to the tech wreck, and I closed several of them and lost money on most of them. Not very much so. Had I held them through today, I would have been down several $100. So I got out. Anyway, I'm going to get this out of the way. I just want to review that quickly for you. What I want to talk about today is the ranking module, which I rarely talk about, and I should talk about it more because it does have some functionality, or it has a lot of functionality and usefulness. Now, I have the ranking module up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my file menu, and my tools menu, and select tile ranking and warehouse horizontally. So what this does is it opens up the warehouse module, and the ranking module is on top up here. Now, I'm currently in the major markets, and this is the intraday view. Let's apply the filter, make sure it's on. So this is what's happening today at this point. I'm updating automatically every 5 minutes. You can see the Ultra VIX is up 7.82% today, $1.87. And what is down percentage-wise is the semiconductor index, again down 156 points. So it's another bad day. It's just a bad day generally for the market. And when that happens, you're going to see money going into the VIX. And also Bitcoin's been strong this week. So money has been flowing into the Bitcoin related stocks, and I've got these in here, a couple of them. Just it helps me see the rotation. Now I'm going to click on this, which transfers it up here. It was already up here, but what this does is I'm looking at the percent change 1 week, and this number right here represents from last Friday's close to right now, intraday. So I'm going to bring up the chart. This is a weekly chart. If you look right up here, it says weekly. And this candle here, you can see it's recalculating right now. As of right now, the UVXY is up 21.783% compared to last Friday. And if you go to the weekly chart and you look down here in this area, you'll see that that same number is there, 21.78. I'm going to go to the SOX. It's minus 8.475. That means the percent change for 1 week up to this point in the trading day, it's down 8.475. And if I bring the chart up here, you look down here at the lower portion of the chart, it's down 8.47. So that is the representative price for 1 day. Now I have my settings on percent change, number of weeks, 1. I can't go any lower than that. So I just am using 1 week. Now, if this were Wednesday, this number would represent what's going on since the last Friday, since the close 1 week ago on Friday. It wouldn't be 1 week from Wednesday, but this represents the full week, and it's up to date. Every time I update, that number is going to change. Let me just hit the, and you can see now it's 2102 is the difference. And if I go to the chart, if I bring this up and click down here, you can see it's 2102. So my point is, this is constantly changing throughout the week. Every time you update, and it will always be from the prior Friday's close. Now let me get a different chart up here. It's a little easier to see. Let's bring the SOX up. It's down 8.3825, down here 8.3 minus 8.38. And if I put this tool up here, and Friday's close last week was right there. If I drag this down here and try to get close, you can see down here at the bottom it says minus 8.2, just because I didn't get it precise enough. Let's put a different color on here. Let me see if I can, it's updating right now. Minus 8.378. And I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit on this. So here's Friday's close. And here is as close as I can get it right here. And it says minus 8.4. Pretty close. Minus 8.37. But what I'm pointing out here, it's from last Friday's close to where it currently is during the market week. This just happens to be Friday with an hour left in the trading week, and that's where it stands. But like on Wednesday, for example, it would be from Friday. Let's say it was somewhere right in here, and it was down 5.6 and so on. So just remember, if you do this, it represents the distance or the percentage change from Friday's close to wherever we are in the trading week. Now I'm going to change this to relative strength. I'm on percentage 1 week, but I'm going to go to EN slow, which is based upon 6 months with 70% of the weighting on the last 3 months. And if I do this, look at this now. The SOX is number 2 in here. outperformed by the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, but the percentage, it's not the percentage, I'm sorry, the relative strength is 94 because the stocks over that time period, if I zoom out, has, as you know, been very strong. Now I'm going to change this to raw relative strength again and go back, and I'm going to do a percent change, and I'm just going to do 4 weeks ago. Where were we 4 weeks ago? When I do this, I can see that the stocks, as of right now with an hour left in the trading week, is down 4.4639% compared to where it was 4 weeks ago. So this would be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. The close was right here. Alternate A. If I draw this from here to here, let's see if I get this correct. Approximately minus 4.2. Well, I didn't get it right on, but you get it. You can use the ranking module to measure performance from any time frame, and I'm using the percentage price change over 4 weeks right now. But I could do it from here to here, and then go in and find the corresponding week, and it's right here now. You can see that when I go back to 1 week, all these numbers change, and these are the performances during those weeks. So back on 6/14, the SOX was up 5.8834%. So, okay, that's 6/14. Let's locate 6/14 right here. If you look down here in the lower corner, it says 6/14. There was a big move right there, and that corresponds to this number right here, 5.8834. So just looking at the ranking module on a week-to-week basis, you can see how the strength was based upon those singular weeks. Now, if I look at, once again, look at a 4-week period, it's going to take 4 weeks into account. And during, for example, on this week right here, up 15.7% on 5/17, and I would have to go back 4 weeks to see that gain. It's just interesting how well this calculates and how precise it is and how quickly it does it. But if you're looking for the longer term relative strength versus short term, it's very easy to do. This is 1 week, and I'm just going to use relative strength to, rather than using percentages right here. As I said, this is 1 week right here. The SOX is down at the bottom, but if I change this to E and slow, it's 6 months with 70% of the weighting at the end of, or the last 3 months. But raw gives you the actual numbers, especially based upon the percent change. Now the other numbers you can do in here, I'm going to put it on comparative to the SPX, and it's 100 is the SPX, and anything above this has outperformed the SPX by this percentage amount. So the UltraVix is outperformed by 21. 100 is a base, so 21.61%. The outperformance. And what is the weakest? It's underperformed by almost 7%, the SOX compared to the S&P. Now another thing you can do is, if you don't want the security to the SPX, you can go into the major market indexes or the group indexes, any smart group, anything, or the major market indexes. Let's say I want to compare what's happening up here to the NASDAQ 100 as my base. So you can see it changed it to the IUXX, which is the NASDAQ 100. And then these numbers relate to the NASDAQ. Here's the NASDAQ 100 down here. It has a base of 100. So you can see that compared to this, what outperformed the index, and most things did, and the QQQs actually underperformed, and the SOX underperformed the NASDAQ 100 by an even greater amount. But if I go over here and look at this one, you can see that if I sort on this, well, no, I don't want to do that. The SOX and the QQQ were trading right along with the NASDAQ 100, which it normally does, because you can see these are all very close to 100. What was underperforming at that time? The short-term VIX was underperforming by about 10%. Now I just generally keep this on, and I go to major market indexes, and I just generally leave it on the S&P 500 or the SPX, which is right here. But you can compare, using this ranking module, you can compare it to anything. Now, one thing I need to say about relative strength, and I'm going to go back to Ian Slow. What you're comparing, these numbers here, the ranking is just comparing what's within this folder. That's it. So long term here, Ian Slow, this is the strongest security in this index. Now I'm going to drop down here, and let's see, where do I want to go? Oh, let me look at the I'm going to go into my spider sector ETFs, and I'm going to locate the technology sector, and I'll just transfer this down here. And you can see over the long term, NVIDIA is the strongest stock within this sector. I'll make this full screen. EPAM is the weakest. NVIDIA is the strongest, and I'm using Ian Slow. So 70% of the weighting goes on the last 6 months and 30% on the prior 3 months. But you can go to any sector, you can go to all securities, you can see where the long-term strength is using this. But now, let's go in and let's change it to percent change 1 week and change this to raw relative strength. And what happened to NVIDIA? I don't see it. I'm just going to type in VDA in there. And it's clear down here. You can see that during this past week, NVIDIA is down 8.12.83% as of right now. If I do an update, let's see if it changes at all. Yes, it's minus 8.0741. So just in a few minutes, you can see that changes. But we've gone from long-term strength to short-term weakness. Remember the weakest stock in the long term? I believe it was EPAM. This week it's up 8.40%. So here we bring it up on a weekly chart, and you can see that if I look down here, it says 8.41%. This is from last Friday's close. So what has been the weakest stock, you're clearly seeing rotation out of very strong stocks like NVIDIA, and look at all these tech stocks that are down the most. AMD's down 15.93%. Let's change this back to Ian Slow. And well, AMD is weak on the longer term also. It just has not performed all that well. This would encompass, remember this is a weekly chart, so this is reflecting the weakness here. It just hasn't been a good stock. Now let's take a look at Corning. This is a pretty amazing run. So what do we have here? About 70% of this would be based upon, okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 months, and you can see that Corning has been very strong, and then the prior 6 months would be somewhere back in here, approximately, where the weakest part of Ian Slow would be calculated. Now if I change back to, I need to get rid of this, change back to percent change 1 week, change this to raw relative strength, you can see that EPAM is up 8.47 from last Friday's close, and AMD is down almost 16%. Micron, I had a spread on Micron. It was setting up. It failed. I just dumped it, or I would have lost a lot more on it. Supermicro is down. So you can get a really good reading here. You can use I like to use 1 week, but you can use 2 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Now let's do something else here. I'm going to just change to relative strength. Remember, we're just comparing these stocks that are in this group. Now, what if I want to go into, I'm going to go into, let me bring the designer up here. And I'm going to go into my reference groups, into all securities. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to make sure that we're only looking at stocks that are assigned to industry groups, and there's 4,870 of them. So if I click on this, it's going to calculate every one of these stocks, and I'm going to change this to Ian Slow. I never use Ian Fast. And I'm going to recalculate. You can see how quickly this recalculates. What is the absolute strongest stock in the database? This is a warrant, it looks like. But here's the stock. This Spacemobile is up, well, it's the highest rank is 99. Okay, let me do this. So I'm going to just do a percent change 26 weeks, half a year, and then I'm going to recalculate, and I'll change this to raw relative strength. And this shows me that this stock is up 317.28%. But here is one over 6 months that's up. It's a warrant, it looks like, up 1,321%. Wow, unbelievable. So there's a nickel stock down here, or warrant. Montana Technologies up 1,257%. You can see how some people that trade these penny stocks, if they can hang on, can get seriously make a lot of money. So this is 26 weeks. Let's change this now to 1 week, it's updating is why it's every time it updates it's going to recalculate the ranking module. That's why I normally don't have it open, but okay, now I'm going to click on my home key and go to the top. So just from last Friday, these stocks are up these percentages. You see it's 1 week up here. Wow, look at this. Obviously some news on it. Let's look at it on a daily chart. Okay, it gapped open today, and it's trading up this month. There's obviously news on it. But the ranking module can show us things like this very easily. Just by comparing, we can see what these stocks are doing. And as I said, if you start doing this on a Monday, I didn't say this, but if you do start doing this on a Monday, you're going to see these stocks that are moving up very quickly. And then Tuesday, it will be on Tuesday, the end of the day Tuesday, it'll be compared to Friday's close and so on throughout the week. So this builds throughout the week. Now I really don't see, well, Coinbase is up big today. You can see this is a weekly chart on Coinbase. But then if you look back last week, it was actually negative. So, you know, it hadn't been doing much. And here we're having a big week because it trades along, or it follows Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's up 5.84% today. So this is outperforming Bitcoin probably for the day, but it's had a nice run for the week when we compare Friday to Friday. I'm going to finish this video out. I'm going to do somewhat of a more practical exercise. I'm working on something called currently featured scans, the scans that I'm using the most. These are not in the files yet because I'm not ready to let them go, but this is a continuation indicator, the 3 across the 6 with a pocket pivot. There's what, 297. This is what's happening with them intraday, and I only want the ones that are up today. So same thing, except it eliminates all the stocks unless the ones that are up. And there's 109 up. So which of these stocks would I be most interested in? Well, it depends. But I'm just going to take this list here. You can see there's still 4,870 up there. But I'm going to transfer this to the ranking module, and this cuts it down to the same number as this, 112. So this is one of those stocks that's up 241% for the week. And let's go back to the daily chart. And why is it coming up in this with this continuation filter? Which you have because it had pocket pivots for 2 days in a row, and the 3 was trading above the 6, so you can see that right here on the histogram. But the clue was volume came in to this yesterday. It's hard to see on here because this volume just dwarfs this volume. But there was enough volume coming in to create pocket pivots, and you can see back here also these 2 days and these 2 days. So this stock was being accumulated. Somebody probably knew that something was going to be happening with this, and then it jumped massively. So let's look at this one. I don't know anything about this stock, never heard of it. Once again, why is it a continuation stock because of all of these. There has to be pocket pivots, and there has to be, the 3 has to be above the 6, or there has to be an effort to rise sign. So this meets the criteria on the pocket pivots, and the 3 above 6. You can see that money started flooding into this on this day. It didn't do much, and then it's finally taken off. This percentage gain this week is 130%. So if I make this a weekly chart by going alternate W, that would represent the gain right here. Okay, let's look at one more. Up only 58%. Look at these pocket pivots coming in. The 3 is above the 6, and it's moving up. Now, these stocks, you really have to be on the ball to catch them. And I generally don't mess with them, but you can see how this program can give us insight as this builds throughout the week. And then by using a filter continuation indicator, let's just look at this filter. Here's the pocket pivots, or if there's an effort up flag and then the days since the 3 crossed the 6, the VPOC has to be positive, close greater than the open, and intraday 1-day change in this instance. So not a lot of requirements, but the pocket pivots and the VPOC crossover and the 3 above the 6 generally says that a stock is on the move. Now I'm going to leave it. Well, actually, let's look at one more. Here's a stock we all know. DH Horton, it's up 13.62 for the week. If I click on this, it takes me to the warehouse. It's up 0.73% today. But if I bring this chart up, let's take a look at this. A really good example. I'm going to bring some arrows up here. If I can find one. Let's use red arrows. Okay, so here's pocket pivots. The 3 went above the 6 right here, and the VPOC was positive. Those are my requirements for continuation. So where did this happen on here? Hold the shift key. Right here, when the 3 was crossing the 6 on that day, is where the first signal was on DR Horton, home builder. And all the home builders took off. Well, most of them took off on the same day. And where did we see it? We saw it coming in right here. Here was the first pocket pivot. Let me hold my shift key. And that is right here on the effort to rise also. And then it gapped up and it really didn't look back. So the continuation scan is an excellent scan. You can pair it with the ranking module if you want to see performance from Friday to Friday or long-term relative strength. Let's just change this one more time. I need to get out of here. Change this to relative strength. And let's go to E and slow. Let's see where Horton is right now. You can see that it was really pouring through here. It jumped up to 71 right here. The last real strength in this was clear back on the 19th of April. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed looking at the ranking module. I haven't paid enough attention to it, but hopefully in the future I'll pay more attention to it. Thanks for listening.